So it says, why does the cord of an electric heater not glow while the heating element does? What does cord mean? Cord basically means that wire that connects the plug to the heater, right? So the electric heater, have you ever seen that wire that connects the electric heater to the plug ever glow? No, right? That always remains its original color, but inside the heater, you must have seen that it starts looking like orange or reddish after some time. So why is that? That is because the cord is actually not meant for heating purposes, right? The cord is just meant to be the completion of the circuit from the plug so that electricity can come from the plug and get to the heater. So should we have a low resistance wire as the cord or a high resistance wire as the cord, which is the connection? Obviously they're a low resistance wire, right? We just want electricity to flow easily through it. But the heater, we want the heater to produce heat. So you remember when I told you that when a resistor has very high resistance, it's going to resist the current a lot. So in that case, you remember, now that we know the Joule's law of heating, we know H is equal to I square RT. So we studied that the heat is directly proportional to R also. So that means if R increases, H also increases, right? So what does that mean? When a high resistance wire is connected in a circuit, the heating effect is also going to be much more. Whereas if resistance is less, the heating will be less. So now we can answer this question. We say that the cord of the wire, I'm writing it in short forms, you will write it completely, okay? So we write the cord of the wire is made of low resistance material, for example copper, because it fulfills solely the purpose of completing the circuit, right? Or you can also write connecting the element to the source of electricity or power, which is the plug. So that is why, so we know using Joule's law of heating, Joule's law of heating, we know H is equal to I square RT. Thus, as R is low, H is low, thus no heat is produced. Now we come to the part where we say why the heater element actually glows. No heat is produced and it doesn't glow. It will become more clear about the glowing part in the next point. Okay. Here we write, but the actual heating element, that is in the heater, that rectangular place between that the wires that are there, that is the actual resistance. But the actual heating element in heaters are alloys. Copper is what? Copper is a metal which has very low resistance. Metals have a property of having low resistance. Have alloys which have high resistance, which have high R, right? So therefore, as H is equal to I square RT, again you will write using Joule's law of heating, R is more, so heat is produced. Okay, so this much we've gotten clear, because this is the element that gets heated up, so heat is produced and the heater works. Now, when the element or alloy gets to a very high, so when the alloy gets to a very high temperature, it actually starts to glow. So you must have seen, like in movies or somewhere, where blacksmiths are like tending to an iron. When it becomes very hot, or any metal or any element, when it becomes super hot, it starts to glow red or orange. So that is exactly what happens. That heating element in the heater, which is alloys, because it has very high resistance, so using Joule's law of heating, it has very high heat. So it gets to a very high temperature, and that is why it starts to glow. But the cord is actually a conducting material, so it does not have high resistance, it does not get heated up and doesn't glow. Okay? Okay, so I hope that is clear now. Now we're moving on to the next question. So this question says, compute the heat generated while transferring 9000 coulomb of charge in 1 hour through a potential difference of 50 volts. Okay, as usual, we write what is given to us. We are given that how many coulomb of charge? Charge symbol Q is 96,000. Wow, that's a lot of charge. 96,000 coulomb of charge, and then we are given time. T is given to us as 1 hour. Now we know that for standard purposes, we need this time in seconds. So first, if we convert hour to minutes, right? How many minutes in 1 hour? It is 60 minutes. So 1 into 60 minutes. So it means is equal to 60 minutes. Now, if we want to convert minute into seconds, how many seconds in 1 minute? It is 60 seconds. So how many seconds in 60 minutes? It is 60 into 60, which is equal to 3600 seconds. So it's actually 3600 seconds in 1 hour. That is our time T. And we are given potential difference V is equal to 50 volts. Okay, great. What do we have to compute? We have to compute the heat generated. So we have to find heat. Okay. Now, is there any formula that comes to your mind that uses H, V and QT in any way? I don't remember any formula that has Q and T, but what do I remember from Q and T? What can I find using Q and T? I can find current, and I know the formula H is equal to VIT. You remember this formula? We derived it. We had logically derived the whole formula, right? We had written E is equal to VIT, and then we had written that energy is used as heat. So it is H is equal to VIT, right? So we write H. So we write H is equal to VIT. And what is our H here? We have to find V we know, T we know, and I we don't know. But we have Q and T. So we can find I easily. So in the solution, we'll first find I. What is I? I is Q upon T. That is the formula for I. And what is Q here? 96,000. So 96,000. Right? 96,000. And what is our time? It is 3600. 3600. So this 0 to 0 gets cancelled. Then if I want to cancel it by 3. 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6. Great. 3 threes are 9, 3 twos are 6, and there is 1 0 also. Okay. Now I want to cancel it by 2. So 2 6 are 12. 2 ones are 2. 1 2 6 are 12 and a 0. Again I want to cancel it by 2. So 2 threes are 6. 2 8s are 16 and a 0. So now I just divided. 3 ones are 3 twos are actually 6. 3 twos are 6. So the 6 is here. 2 and a 0 comes down. So 3 5s are 15. 3 6s are 18. So 18. 2 is left. We put a decimal. Again 0. So 5s are 15. 3 6s are 18. So then 666 will keep going on. You will divide it and check by yourself. So I write 26.67 amperes is my current. Okay, this I get. Then I will use the Joule's law of heating. No, not the Joule's law of heating. I'll use H is equal to VIT. So H is equal to, what is V? 50. What is I? Is 26.67. And what is the time that it flows for? It is 3600 seconds. So when we multiply it, we get 4800600. So we can just write this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I take the decimal 6 sides to the left, so it becomes 4.8. So it approximately becomes 4.8 into 10 to the power 6 joules. This is my answer. Okay, moving on to the last question for this part. It says that an electric iron of resistance 20 ohms, so R is given to us, takes a current of 5 ampere, I is given to us. Calculate the heat developed in 30 seconds. Awesome. We write what is given to us. Resistance, which is R, is given to us as 20 ohm. Right? It takes a current of 5 amperes. So we are given current, which is I, is equal to 5 ampere. Then we are given the time also. Time T is given to us as 30 seconds. And what do we have to find? We have to find the heat. So we have to find H. Now simple, I can just see H is equal to I square RT. We have everything we need. We just need to put it in the formula. I square means current squared, which means 5 square. So I am writing 5 into 5 into R, which is 20, into T, which is 30. Right? So from here I have 3 2s are 6. So what does this become? This becomes 25 into 3 2s are 6 and 2 zeros. So then what is 25 into 6? So 5 6 are 30. 6 1s are 6, 6 2s are 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is 15 and 2 more zeros, right? So this becomes 15,000 joules of heat. Okay, so now that we're done with this question, we'll move on to the next topic, which is the applications of heating effect of electric current. So I told you that whenever the battery maintains a potential difference across the terminals, because of that, there is some energy that is used by the battery, and that energy is let out in the form of heat. Now, do you remember we said that we prefer to connect resistors in parallel because the resistance of the whole circuit decreases, right? So if the resistance decreases and you connect it with Joule's law of heating, resistance decreases, so heat decreases. So in normal circuits, we actually don't want that much heat to be produced, because if the heat is more and we have used materials which are very sensitive to heat, they might actually get permanently damaged and it would cause us a huge loss. So in many practical purposes, we do not want heating to happen in our circuits. But when there are appliances which actually their work is to produce heat only, we actually buy them because they produce heat, like oven, microwave, toaster and stuff like that. So in that kind of appliances, the heating effect is actually put to good use. Okay, so here as it says, the electric toaster, the electric oven, electric kettle and electric heater are some of the familiar devices that use the heating effect of electric current. Okay, now here it says about the electric bulb and its working. So you must have seen an electric bulb. You must have seen there is some kind of a filament which is in this shape inside it, right? And this is the encasing of glass. So what exactly happens inside an electric bulb is a material which has very high resistances used in a bulb, which is usually tungsten. Tungsten is usually the material which is used in electric bulbs. So it has very high resistance and very high melting point also. So why is very high melting point required? If a resistor has very high resistance, so what does it mean? Using Joule's law of heating, it is going to produce a lot of heat when current flows through it. And if it gets heated up and it has a low melting point, so it is going to melt immediately and the appliance is going to stop working. So that is why we use tungsten, and it has very high resistance and a very high melting point. So it quickly reaches a very high temperature, and because of that we saw when metals like this get heated up, or materials basically get heated up, very high temperatures they reach and they start to emit light. So that is what is used in the electric bulb. This tungsten filament, the filament is basically that curving or like roller coaster like looking piece inside the bulb which actually glows to give the light. So inside that glass encasing, usually an inactive glass like nitrogen is filled so that the tungsten filament is protected from like processes like corroding or any other damage that can happen to it, to prolong the life of the bulb so that it keeps working well for a long time. Now I'm going to show video which is going to make it a little more clear to you. Okay.